Thank you, Kanvi, for the introduction. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Learn with Teacher class. I'm really thankful to all of y'all who could make it to this session right now. Some of y'all must have already gone through the tutorials. And if you have, then this session is going to bring a lot of depth in your uh, in whatever you have learned through the tutorials. And if you haven't watched the tutorials, it's completely okay. I'll be covering most of that in this session today. One thing to remember is that we have developed this understanding after a thorough research. So it's okay to take your time and learn it at your own pace. If any time that you feel stuck, confused, please feel free to use the chat box, like Kanvi said, and that will be sent to us. She will convey the message to me, and I will take all your questions from there. Uh, Now, the objective of this class is by the end of this class, you will be confident to get started with your own class or classes on Google Classroom. Like I said, we have done a research on this, so it comes very naturally or easy for me. And it's okay, you will get there with practice. Now, I'll just tell you what we're going to cover in this class. In this class, we're going to cover how to get started with Google Classroom with your Gmail account. How you can create your first classroom and multiple classrooms with the same account, and explore some different features of Google Classroom. And I hope that this session is going to be helpful for you. And I'm going to start right at the beginning for everyone to understand how to get started. So let's just get started. So here you can see that I'm in my Gmail account, and I'm going to start this class. Now, if I have to go to Google Classroom, I have to roll over to these dotted icon over here on the top right corner. And in these applications, I'm going to search for Google Classroom or Classroom. Now, these are the applications that are given to you free from your gmail.com account, correct? So I'm just simply going to go over to Classroom and click it. And here it's asking me to confirm my ID, and I'm simply going to continue. That's it, I'm inside the Google Classroom. Now there's another way of accessing Google Classroom. I'm going to close this tab. I'm going to open another tab over here. Simply typing classroom.google.com. And there I have my classroom ready. Now, today I'm going to be showing you the features of Google Classroom from a .com ID, gmail.com ID. Remember that if you have Google for Education, then a lot of features will be made available to you, or an ORG account. A lot of different features will be made available to you. But today, since most of our participants are using gmail.com, we'll go over to what's available for free for gmail.com. Now we'll get started with creating our classroom. It's a very simple process. All you have to do is click this plus icon on the top right corner. And there are two options that you're going to get. One is join a class, one is create a class. Now for your students, they will have to join a class, but since you're the teacher, you're going to create a class. It's going to give you a prompt about using Google for Education. Like I said, that Google for Education has different features and like more advanced features. But since we're using .com ID, we're just gonna click this box and continue. Now we're creating our first class. So I'm just gonna name my class. Now I like to put my own name over here so that it becomes more personal for my students. This is a virtual learning space. it is very important to personalize it or customize it to your students so that they can relate as much as possible. In my section, I'm going to put my class and standard and subject. It's going to give me a lot of different options. I'm simply going to select science and create. Now this will take time according to your internet connection and speed. Since this is the first time I'm using Google Classroom, what Google Classroom also does is gives you these prompts for help. Get ready for the school year, how you can do different things over here. I'm simply going to do got it because I'm going to show you all those features in this session. Now here is our classroom and I'm going to show you how to get started with this. So the first thing that you want to do in your class is add your students, correct? So there are two ways to add your students. One is using the class code. You will simply share this class code with your students on various platforms, whatever platform that you choose, that is either an email address, WhatsApp, or text message. And the students will just have to join class by adding the class code. I'm going to go back to my class. So that's one way, that is sharing the class code. The other way to add your students is going to the people tab, and you can add students using their email ID. So if I have a student that I want to add, I will simply invite them. So these are the two ways in which you can add your students. Now I'm going to go over to my class again by clicking this 3 lines here, and now this is my classroom. Now say that I have many classes that I teach. Now this is 7th A. I teach science to 10th grade as well. So I want multiple classrooms in my Google class. Now it doesn't mean that I need to have multiple email IDs. All I will need to do is go to classes and add another class. So I'll create a class. Again, the same prompt. I'm going to simply click continue. Here I'll put 10th B subject science. It's creating my class. It's telling me how I can invite my students. So now I have both of my classes ready. If I have to see my classes, I'm simply going to click this 3 lines and go to classes, and both of my classes are here. Now, if you see, the theme of both of my classes are the same. You can see this purple image over here. Now, just for identification purpose, for myself, I will try to change the theme of one of the classes just so that I can differentiate between my classes and not get confused. Now you can make it fun. You can use anything, any different themes that you want, that you think your students are going to like. I'm just going to go over to science and choose a very simple theme for science. You can also upload your class photo as a theme. It will make it more personalized for your students. Now I'm going to go over to my classes, and now you can see these two look different and I can easily identify them. Okay, I'm going to pause for some questions right now. Kanvi will share the questions with me that you have asked in the chat box.
Yeah, Raisa, I think we do not have any questions at this point. But the screen, it seems to be a little blurred. Can you try to refresh your page? Maybe that will clarify things.
Okay, let me just try to screen share again.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great.
Tanvi, is it better now?
It's still a little blurred. Can you just try to refresh only this page, like your Chrome tab?
Sure. Is it any better now?
Not very clear. I'm not sure why. Um, do you think you could switch
I'll
over to
just
some other network? Is it possible for you? Because your video is pretty clear actually.
Is it any better now?
Yeah. It's fine. It looks good to me now.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so we don't have any questions as of now. Teachers, I would like to reiterate any questions that come up. Please type them in the chat box. I'll try to address them there as well and bring up with Raisa as well. And thank you for letting us know about the blurred screen. It really helps to give us a better experience to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tanvi.
Yeah, and I would like to reiterate that we are recording this session. So don't worry, like later we will be sharing the recording on our different platforms. So you will be able to access the recording over there as well. Okay, over to you, Raisa.
Thank you so much, Tanvi. All right, let's move to the next section. That was just how to get started and assign themes and get multiple classes on board. Now I'm going to show you the crux, the juice, the meat of Google Classroom. And trust me, it's very, very simple once you start practicing. So I'm going to show you the different tabs that are there in Google Classroom to begin with, and then I will go into each tab in itself. All right. So over here, you can see the first tab is the Stream tab. The Stream tab is where it's basically a home page. So that's where all your announcements, your posts, your students' posts, etc. will be seen. You can make announcements from this post from here. Now I'll go into how to make an announcement in a while once I explore all the tabs. So this is your home page. The second tab is your classwork tab. Here is where you can create different classwork for your students, and here is where all the work of the class that you have assigned is going to be displayed. The next tab is the People's tab. In People's tab, you'll be able to see two sections. One is the teachers and one is the students. Now, if you have a co-teacher or a teacher who assists you in the same classroom, you can simply add the teacher by typing their email address so that they have access to the classroom and all the rights that a teacher has to the classroom. Here is where you will also add students like we saw in the previous. You simply type your student's email address and add them. The last tab is the Marks tab or your Grades tab. Here is where once you assign homeworks, assignments, submissions, and you're grading them, it will all appear over here. Currently, we do not have any students, so I'm not going to focus much on this tab. Now let's go and explore the Stream tab in depth. So the first thing we want to do is post our first post in this tab, right? Now assume that we have added our students and we have our classroom ready with everyone. Now I want to post a post. So I'm simply going to I'm going to click this here, share something with your class. I'm going to type my first post. So what I'm doing is I'm simply introducing myself to my students and putting an introductory post for them. Now you can also add attachments to your post. I want to add a fun image for my students. So I'm going to go over to File, and I'm going to select a file from my device. You can also select files from your Google Drive, shared drive, etc. I'm simply going to select one from my PC. I'm going to upload it. And there, my post is nearly ready. Now there are three things I can do with this post. I can either post it immediately by clicking it, or if I'm not done writing my post entirely, I will save it as draft. So once I save it as draft, it means it's not posted yet. I can always go over to it in the saved announcement tab, open it, make changes in it, and then post. But over here, I want to show you how to schedule a post. So I'll just go over to schedule. Let's do it for now so you can see how a scheduled post will appear. I'm going to put 1526 and schedule. Now you'll see that it is saved over here in saved announcements, and it has not been posted yet to your class. Now, while we wait for the post to be posted, let me show you another feature over here. Now, here is the upcoming tab. If you can see, it is written no work due soon. If you have assigned assignments or submissions and you have assigned due dates for it, it will appear over here, which we will see in the later part of this call. Now I'll show you another feature while we wait for our post to go live. So if I have to reuse a post, correct? Say that this is a post that I have posted and I want to reuse the same post in another class. Now I have multiple classes, right? I have 7th A, then over here I have 10th B, and I want to use the same post in all the classes. I don't have to type it over and over again. All I will need to do is reuse post. And it will open all your classes in which the post is available. So I'll open 7th A, and you see this is a post that I've kept ready. And what I will do is I will create new copies of all attachments and reuse. Now the brilliant thing over here is it will not post this post without giving me a prompt for making any changes. So say that I want to use the same attachment and the same text, but instead of academic year, I want to write welcome to 10th grade. Now I don't have to spend time attaching once again and typing everything once again. I made a small change and I'm simply gonna post it in my other classroom. Let's see how the post is gonna appear. So here is your first post that has appeared where you're welcoming your students and your students can see the attachment as well as the post. Let's go over to our other classroom and see whether our scheduled post has been posted. Okay, I'm waiting for this to get posted. Now the saved announcement is gone. I'm going to refresh this page. The stream was updated, so I'm going to do show. So if you see now, the post has been posted. So this is about the stream tab. All your reminders and your posts, you're going to post from this tab using this option. I'm pausing for questions.
Yes. So Raisa, one of the questions I think that came up and which is not a part of our plan as well is basically is the procedure same for the phone and the laptop? or are there any key differences?
Okay, that's a really great question. Thank you for asking that. It will help all our participants over here. So, most of the features remain the same on the mobile as well as the laptop. However, if you go over to the classroom tab, there are certain features that are unavailable in the mobile phone. However, the basic structure of Google Classroom remains the same on mobile phone as well as laptop. Now, obviously, laptop gives you a better view and it helps you create different type of questions, but that's okay. You can go over to our YouTube tutorials on how to use it on mobile. It's very much similar.
All right. So we had a few other questions, but I think you are going to cover them in the session anyway. So towards the end of the session, if they are still not covered, I'll bring those up.
All right. Thank you,
Everyone
Kanvi.
else, thank you for asking all these questions. I think they really help us in making our process better and our understanding better. So I'll encourage everyone to keep asking your questions in the chat box. I'm there and I'll post them to Raisa as well. And we'll be also sharing a link of our tutorials in the chat window itself. So later, if you want to go and watch them, you can definitely go and check them out. At the end of this webinar, we'll be also sharing a feedback form. In case you guys have anything specific that you would like to know, feel free to give us any kind of feedback. Yeah, over to you guys.
Thank you, Kanvi. All right. So now that we have explored the Stream tab, we're going to go over to the next tab, which is the most critical tab for all you teachers out there, which is the classwork tab. Now, how I'm going from one tab to other is I'm simply clicking it, and on your mobile phone as well, you simply have to tap it. All right. Now, in this classwork tab, I'm going to go over each of these separately so that you guys will have a in-depth understanding of what each of them mean. So I will start with material. Now, basically in your classwork tab, this is where all the work that you're going to assign to your students is going to reflect. So your assignments, your questions, your notes, your videos that you want to watch, all of that is going to be assigned from this page. So this is a little important page. So if you have questions, please keep throwing them in the chat box and Kanvi will pick them up and convey to me in my next break. All right, let's get started. Now, if I have to create, I'm going to think about what I'm sharing right now with my students. So at the beginning of the lesson, I would like to share material or class notes, right, for the students to read. So I'm simply going to give it a title, Notes, Chapter 1, Living Organisms. If I have description, I will write that. If not, I'm just going to skip it. And I'm going to add a file that they're going to refer to as notes. Once again, I'm going to select something from my device. I'm going to go over to my notes, choose my chapter notes, and simply upload. Now, this is a really interesting feature. So if I am having multiple sections, correct, and I create multiple classrooms such as 7th A Science, 7th B Science, 7th C Science, and I want to post the same notes in all three classrooms, I don't have to do this process over and over again, which will be very time consuming. All I will need to do is simply go over for whom. For whom is this post? I can choose which classes I want to post this to. Now, do I want to post it 7th A? Do I want to post it to 10th B? If I have a 7th B, it will all appear over here. Right now, I just want to post it to 7th A. There's also another very interesting features. You can post it to either all your students or you can post it to some of your students. So you can, right now, we do not have students to display over here, but all your students would be shown in a list here and you can simply check their boxes to certain students who you want to assign it to. Now these are class notes, so I want to give it to all my students. I'll simply post it. Now again over here for post, you have the same options. Save as draft, that is if I still want to work on it, I'll save it as draft. or I can schedule my post if I wanted to go out at a later time, or I can simply post it directly. I've posted it directly. There, my first post has gone live in my classwork. This will also be seen in my stream tab over here. Can you see the first post that's gone? So this stream tab is basically a home page. So all updates will be shown over here on your stream tab. I'm going to go back to my classwork and show you another category. Now, if I have to share an assignment with my students, I'll write assignment. I can number it. I can call it assignment number 1. Watch the video and answer the following. Answer the questions. Now I'm giving a video assignment to my students, and you may want to pay attention here. I'm going to add a YouTube link over here. Now I want them to watch a video, and I will give them a few questions that they have to answer. Now in this add icon, once I click, I will have a Google Drive link or any link that I want to share with them, a file or YouTube. Since I want them to watch a video, I'll go over to YouTube. If I have the link of my YouTube video, I'll simply paste it over here by right clicking and paste. But now I don't have it, so I can directly search it from here as well. So I will write living organisms for 7th grade and search. Just like how you would go to a YouTube page online on a separate tab, you can now see all your search results over here. So you will simply go over to the video of your choice. This is a 13-minute video and I want my students to watch this. I will add it. Now my video has been created. Now I want to add questions for my students to answer. So I will create. Can you see this create tab? I'll click that and I'll create a document. In this document, I can write down all the questions that I need to be answered. I can provide some space. And then question 2. What I will also do is I will change the title of the document by simply going over to the name. And if you can see, this is getting stored in Ms. Sharma's science class 7th A on my personal drive, on my Google Drive. So what it does is it creates a folder for you in your Google Drive of your class. And in that, all of these documents will appear. Once I'm done with this document, I'll simply go over to this tab, again, my classwork tab. And I have different settings that I can choose with this document. Now, there are 3 different settings. One is student can view this file. You can use it so that the students will be able to use that, will be able to see that document, and you can ask them to write the notes in their notebooks and attach photographs. So you can simply do students can view this file. If you want them to edit on the same document, if you think that your students are proficient enough to make edits to a document, you can ask the students to edit the same file. that you have sent. But what I want is I want each of my students to have their own individual files to work with. So I'm going to say make a copy for each student. So there'll be a separate copy that will be made for each of my students like this. So they can come onto this tab, type their answers, and it will save as different files. Now I can also grade this assignment. Now I have asked two questions of 5 marks each. So I'm going to score it 10. And I want to assign a due date. I don't want to leave it open-ended. I want students to submit it on some time. So say before Monday, I want them to submit. And if there's a time that you want them to submit before, you can put that. I'm going to put 6 o'clock in the evening. And I will simply assign. There, our next post is also ready. And if you go over to the stream tab, you will be able to see your new assignment is posted. Now let's explore another type. It's a quiz assignment. Now, can you see the various things that you can do with your Google Classroom? You can assign assignments, you can ask them quizzes, you can post your reading materials, share videos, etc. Now, I'm going to show you quizzes. Now, if you want to understand how to work with Google Docs, Google Forms, Google Drive, you can simply go to our YouTube channel and watch the tutorials that we have created for each of them separately. In this video or in this session, I'm simply going to take you through how to work this around in the Google Classroom. Now, for my third assignment, I'm going to post a test. So I'm going to call it end of chapter test. And it has already created a Google form for me. I'm going to click this. It will take me to the Google form. Firstly, I would like to rename this before I begin working on this form. So I'm going to say living organism test. And I'll copy the same name over here. You can write instructions for them over here, like all questions are mandatory, etc. Now, I'm not going to go deeper into how to create a quiz. I will just show you one question. For example, you're asking a question, are human beings living organisms? So your option one would be yes. You'll add another option no. Now here, if you can see, this is a quiz, so it will auto grade the answer. So the answer key, it will ask you to choose which is the correct answer. I will say yes, and I want to mark this 1. It's for 1 mark. I'll simply choose done. And I want my students to answer all the questions. So this required field, I'm going to click it. So it's going to become a mandatory question for my students. Now I can add many questions over here and different question types. For knowing how to use Google Forms, you can go over to our YouTube tutorials. For now, I'll just go back. Once you've created this quiz, go back to my classwork. My quiz will be updated over here and the students will be able to take it. Once I've designed my quiz and I know how many marks it's for, I'm simply going to change the marks. So this quiz is going to be for 25 marks. I want my students to complete this quiz really quickly, that is by tomorrow, 6 o'clock. So I'm going to assign a due date for it and simply assign. Now, an assignment and a quiz assignment is very similar. In quiz assignment, you have auto grading as your option. In assignment, we saw that you can grade it separately in the site, but it does not auto generate a Google form. Now, I'll show you another question type, that is questions. Now, this is simply a question that I can ask my students. Please share if you have any doubts from chapter 1. Now, this is not really a question that I'm grading, but I want to know if my students have any doubts. So I'm going to make this unmarked. I'm not going to set a due date to this because I want my students to keep asking me questions. Now, this is important. When I'm sharing the question type question, it's going to ask me two options, that is, students can reply to each other and students can edit the answer. Now, since all of us are new in this virtual learning space, we know that our students will be capable of writing comments or posting comments on each other's posts. So I will simply put this off just so that they are unable to do that. And I will keep that students can edit their answer, because if they have new questions coming up, we can always keep adding to the original answer. So I will keep this option open. Now, if you have written a question like a proper essay question and you don't want your students to edit the answer after submission, you will simply uncheck this. Right now, I want them to edit, so I'm going to check that and ask. There, my question, we have explored the different question types. We've explored assignment, quiz assignment, question, material, and reuse post is the same post as the streams tabs reuse post. So I'm not going to go over that again. For now, we're going to pause for questions.
Yes. Thank you, Raisa. So I think one question that came up is that is there a limit on the number of students that there can be in a Google Classroom?
Right now, there isn't any limit of the number of students, but I will find out if there is any for .edu, that is for Google for Education, has no limit, but I will find out for Gmail account if there is a limit given by Google. So we'll answer that question in one of our posts on social media, or we'll reach out to you personally for that question.
All right. So there's another question. So that is that if there are multiple teachers who are using Google Classroom at the same time, is there a way for the principal or the admin to keep a track of the various classes?
Yes, so you can simply add in the people section, you can add your principal as well. So they can come and keep a tab on your classwork, your streams, etc.
All right. Thank you for answering that question. So I think, Raisa, rest of the questions you will be anyway covering in your session. If they do not
Okay.
get covered, then I'll definitely bring them up in the rest of the parts. So we have a healthy discussion going on in the chat itself. One of the questions that came up was also that if do the student respond immediately, and do the student responses disrupt the teaching in any manner?
Okay, I will cover that in the forthcoming topic in the session.
All right. So I think for now, Raisa, we can move on. I'll
Okay.
encourage everyone to pose your questions in the chat box, and I'll try to bring all of them up with Raisa. And thank you everyone for maintaining the decorum during the call. I see I have like everyone is on mute, and we are not facing any problems as such. Thank you everyone for cooperating. Over to you, Raisa.
Thank you so much, Kanvi, and thank you so much everyone for engaging. I'm unable to see the chat option since I'm sharing the screen, but I'm sure that you guys are engaging in healthy discussions. Please feel free to ask any amount of questions, and we will get back to you if not in this session on one-on-one. So don't worry. All right. So I'm going to go back to my classwork tab now. We have posted all our posts, and this is how it looks on our Stream tab. Now we are still very new to the classwork, so we have limited number of posts, correct? But once we start using Google Classroom on a daily basis, there are going to be more and more and more and more posts, and it's going to get flooded, and you're going to have to scroll down. So one good way is to organize your classwork. This tab can be organized in a very nice way that will help your students also find material very easily. That will help you as well in your class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you another feature which is called the topic. Now, if I add topic, I can add topic unit wise or lesson wise. It all depends on the way you want to categorize your classwork. Okay. Now, I'm going to do it unit wise. So I'm going to have unit 1. I'm going to create another topic called unit 2. So that my students will be easily able to identify what topics or what units they have to go and look. So all of this belongs to the unit 1. I'm simply left holding it and dragging it to unit 1. There's another way of moving the topics, which I'm going to show you in just about a moment. In unit 2, I have nothing assigned as of now. So let's go over and assign something to unit 2, say reading material. Again, I would say notes, chapter 2, plans. I'll add a file. Select it, upload it. Now I was talking about another way in which you can add topic is through this. This appears in all your posts. Simply go over to this and you can assign it to a particular topic or you can create a new topic. I'll put it in unit 2 as of now and post. Here you see we have our classroom very well organized. Now a tip that I would like to give all the teachers out there is to add a topic called notes. Now what this helps us do is all the notes of all the chapters can be moved to this tab. So that whenever the students need to refer to chapter notes, they don't go looking around in the classwork. They simply can go over to the notes section and open any chapter notes. Since that is something they're going to keep coming over to, I prefer to keep it on top. You can rearrange it the way you like. If you think unit 1 is priority, you can put unit 1 up. But like I said, I like to keep my notes on top so my students can simply come and look or search in the notes tab for what they're looking for. That is that's all for how to organize your classwork. You can experiment with different topics. You can put lesson wise, you can put unit wise, semester wise, the way you like it. You can even make assignments different tabs, notes different tabs, videos different tabs. So it all depends on what is comfortable for you and your students. Now let's go over that. That's all for the classwork tab. Let's go over to the stream tab now. Now we assigned so much classwork and we can see that's all been posted on our home page. And now you can also see the upcoming tab over here. So due on Saturday is the end of chapter test and due on Monday is the assignment number 1. So now we know exactly what is coming up and even our students will be able to see that. All right, we'll pause for questions.
Yes. So Raisa, one question that we are getting is that how do we interact with individual students? Is there a way to do that?
Okay, I will just take that question right here. So if we have received responses, right now we don't have responses, so I will not be able to show that to you. But once we have received responses, say for the end of chapter test, we will be able to either email the students or we will be able to comment on the students' work. Let me go over back to the classroom and open an assignment. So once the students have handed the assignments, you'll be able to see who all have handed the assignments. You can open their assignments and you can grade it and leave your comments for your students over there.
Okay.
What we can do for this question is create a small short tutorial on how that's going to look like with students on the platform.
Okay. I think one question that also came up is, can we have the same notes in two topics? Like one note is in unit 1 and in unit 2 as well? Or are you planning that in the...
That's a good question, and I'll cover this right away. So in my classwork, if I want to put notes in unit 1 as well as over here, I'm simply going to click this 3 dots, or I can simply do reuse from here, correct? Like the reuse option, reuse post. I'll go here, and I want to reuse notes. So it will appear twice. We'll simply put the unit over here, unit 1, post it. Then I can drag it in my unit 1 as well.
Okay. Great. I think that answers Pari's question. I think there's another question which I'm not very clear on. It says that can we make a group on Google Classroom for submitting notes?
Is that for students particularly?
Yes, students group. Yeah.
So when I have to ask a question or collect notes, right? If I want them to share something with me, I'm simply gonna add question, type the question, say please share your reflections. And over here, I can select my students. So I can select it to group 1, and I can just simply write group 1 assignment or notes and select a certain number of students from here and then ask. Then I can also similarly make a group 2 and select another set of students and group 3 and so on and so forth. Add multiple groups, so only those group of students will be able to share the notes together.
Okay. Thank you. So there's another question that is there any option for a breakout room to get small groups of students to interact or discuss?
Okay, I would like to bring to your notice that while this is live, the students will only be able to see different posts live, right? All these posts live. They will not be able to interact in the sense how a video call interaction is. So if you want to post a certain question or a discussion, you can simply do it the way I did for this previous one. Ask a question and create a group where you can ask them specific questions, right? Like for now, I want them to discuss Animal Kingdom. So all my students will be sharing their answers, and over here you can simply students can reply to each other so that it will lead to a healthy discussion, correct? So over here, the students will go and type in their answers, and each one can basically reply to each other. So while this is a live class, it is not an interactive class as such. I mean, it is an interactive class, but all the students will be able to see the post that they have been assigned. So you can choose which students to assign posts to.
Okay. Thank you, Raisa. So I think one thing which Anita ma'am has asked is that so basically the teacher needs to be ready with all the notes and the documents in their computer or phone, right? To be able to assign them to the students.
That is not necessary. For example, if I'm going to create a material, I can add a link. So if I have a link that is ready, so for any class, how a teacher is going to prepare a lesson plan, correct? What she's going to show in the classroom, the charts, the pictures, what the discussion points are. Similarly, you have to do your research. Now, what Google Classroom does it helps you to accumulate everything. But if it's a YouTube video, you can search it live over here, correct? You don't have to save something on your PC and then put it over here. But to answer that question in a direct manner, I think there is going to be some amount of planning that is going to be needed for any class. So I guess, yes.
All right. But if they can find link to someone else's quiz, like for example, one teacher has made a quiz, then the teacher can actually take up the link directly and add it here. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can simply add the link over here,
Yeah.
paste the link, and you can share the, you can, edit the topics, and then you can share it with your class.
And if they are able to find any kind of worksheets on, for example, Pinterest, do you think those
Correct.
links can also be inserted over here?
It is preferred to download the PDF versions of worksheets and attach them over here in your assignments or quiz or material. The reason being that your students may not be able to navigate Pinterest, and Pinterest or any other website, sometimes they have sign up issues where they ask you to register, etc. So students may not be able to navigate that. So if you have a PDF or a Word document, that makes it easier for the student.
All right. So I think for now, we are all caught up on the questions. Uh, uh, just hold on to your last question. Raisa is anyway planning to cover that towards the end of the session. So for now, I think Raisa, you can move on.
All right. Thank you so much for your questions, and we are learning a lot from your questions. And I'm already thinking of the different things that I would like to share going forward in a session if I have to conduct it again or to create tutorials for all your teachers out there. In my last section, this is my last section, I'm going to show you the to-do that this Google Classroom helps the teacher to see, a to-do list and the calendar view. So let's just get started directly. So in these three lines on the top left corner, it gives you different tabs, right? So right now we are in our classes tab. If I click classes tab, then I can see all my classes, but I want to see calendar. Now, what this calendar does is it helps me organize. Now, if I have given too much work in the same week, I'll be able to see all of my work over here, and then I'll realize that probably I've assigned a little too much work for this week. So I can push the due date for either one of this to a later time. So I'll simply go to my classwork and edit it, or I can edit it from here as well. So right now it's due on 16th May, and I can always edit this post. I'm going to go over to my calendar again. So it's going to give me a view of what all is upcoming, what are the, I can assign my tests, etc. from here, and basically use my calendar to uh, organize all of my work or organize my classes or the flow of my classes. Now over here, you can see a specific class or all your classes. So you know what all is coming up for either all your classes when you select all your classes, or just one specific class. currently we don't have any posts in the other classroom, so we can't see anything over here from that class. So this is your calendar. You can, like I said, you can simply go over to what is due, go to instructions, you can edit it from here, you can post comments. Please feel free to ask questions before the test. You can post your comments, and your class can see that. Your students can ask you questions over here if they have any. Now I'm going to go over to the to-do tab. Now in my to-do tab, it tells me all the things that I've assigned to my students, which I have to basically correct. So here is where the biggest task of the teacher is to, now that you have assigned an assignment, I have to grade my assignments, I have to mark them, I have to review them, correct? So now it tells me all the assignments that I have posted that I need to review. So if I review some assignments, it will appear in my review tab over here. But currently I haven't reviewed any work since I don't have any students. So it's all appearing in my to review. Now it is very interesting. Over here you will be assignments and how many it's assigned to. So 10 students have been assigned this assignment and like 3 students have submitted it in time, and then I can simply go over to who has handed in, and all of the assignments are going to appear here. I'm simply going to grade it and send feedback to each student. So here is where I'm going to go over and keep looking at my to-do to see who all has submitted assignments and if there is any assignment that is pending from my side to review as a teacher. Okay, those were the two features that I wanted to take you through. Now the last tab that I want to take you through is the settings tab. Now over here, you will have your picture that you can change, your email notifications that you want. So this comments on your post, all of these are basically notifications that you will receive once all of this happens. So if you want a notification for late submission of your student work, you'll keep that on. If a student is resubmitting their work, that is making changes, editing and resubmitting, so you'll get notified. So this basically depends on your preferences of the class. I would recommend each of you all to go through each of this and see what's applicable to you and your class and select accordingly. Cool. I'm going to go over to my classroom once again. And here there's a separate settings tab. I'll open that. This is going to be settings for this particular specific class, correct? So if you see Miss Sharma Science Class 7th A, what are the different settings I would like to work with? One is class code. I can either display this class code, copy it, reset it, or disable. So say that the class code has gone to students of a different class, and there are a lot of students joining in your class who don't belong to your class, and you know that your code has been compromised or that it has been leaked to other students. You can simply reset it and you'll get a new code over here, so that here you can see now I've resetted my code so that now the code is not accessible to many students. And simply when you have to add new students, you'll share the new code with them. Now stream, this is very, very important to maintain discipline in our Google Classroom. To begin with, we can keep only teachers can post or comment. And eventually, once the students get a little familiar with the tool or the app, then you can open it to students can only comment. And if you think your students are mature enough to post a post, then you can keep the option of student can post and comment on. Another feature that I would like to show is classwork on the stream tab. Now, if I do condensed notification, all my notifications become very small. It hides the attachments and the details. Now, I don't want to do that. I want all my attachment and details to be seen so that my students don't miss out on a particular attachment. So I'll save this. Now you'll be able to see that it has become, it's no more a condensed one, it's an expansion of the same post. The students will be able to see the notes or the attachments in each of the, there is no question of missing. Now here there are two attachments, so the students will be able to see both the attachments. So I like to keep the view this way so that I don't miss out on anything and my students don't miss out on anything. All right, there is another feature, but that feature is only applicable in the Google Suite for Education that is going live in the class with Google Meet. So this is a gmail.com ID that I'm using. So that feature is not available on this account. But if you have a .org ID or a .edu ID, that is if your school has their own domain name, for example, Sharma at saintanneschool.edu, then you will be able to avail all the advanced features of Google Classroom. So in your general tab, you will have an additional setting called Google Meet, and there'll be a link given to you. So that link is going to appear over here, and you can always go live with your students whenever that you want. You simply have to click that option of going live, and there'll be a video call that will open, and your students will be able to join that video call immediately. So that's a feature that is missing in this free account. I think that's all for today. Uh, Please feel free to ask questions. We will pause for questions right now.
Sure. So I think a couple of questions came up, I think which you have addressed, but maybe we can cover them again. So someone said that if they have a G Suite account, so can they access Google Classroom for that from that?
Yes, anybody with a Google account can access Google Classroom. It's one of the free tools that's been given by Google.
All right. Someone also asked that can they remove some students from the Google Classroom?
Absolutely. I actually missed adding that when I was talking about students coming onto a classroom. So now say that the student has accepted my invite and has come onto it. I can always remove my student from here. So I go over to my people tab and all my students are here. And if there are students who are not from my class and have accidentally joined the class, I simply click over to them, actions, and remove. And it'll give me a prompt and I'll simply remove the student from the classroom. In a similar fashion, you can remove your other co-teachers or collaborators from the teachers tab.
Okay.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah, so someone also asked that is there a video option in Google Classroom? And on similar lines, there was this question that is it possible to do Zoom plus Google Classroom at the same time? Is there any integration available or something like that?
Okay, so like I said, in the Google Education Suite, you will have a live Google meeting over here. So you will not really require a Zoom integration because you can simply click the Google Meet, the link that you have, and you can go live with your students, and your students can join on a real-time basis. With regards to Zoom, probably you can schedule a post from here with the link of the Zoom ID and post it. So your students will be able to see that. So say that, please join the virtual or online class. Please join the class. Let's just call it class. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. using this link. And if you have a link, you will simply paste the link over here. I don't have a link right now, so I'll not paste it. And I can post it. And then tomorrow your students will be able to use that link and join the video call. So I think that's a way of not integrating, but using both of these tools together.
All right. So Raisa, there's another question asked by Eka ma'am, which is, can the students remove anyone?
No, the students don't have the authority to do anything. The maximum that they can do is post a post over here, and that's also if you have allowed them from here. If I'm going to say only teacher posts or comments, then the students will not be able to post or comment as well. So only you will be able to share, you will be able to add, you will be able to remove as a teacher.
All right, great. Also, Anita ma'am has asked, oh, okay, her question has been answered. So I think we have caught up on all the questions that were there. We are just going to pause over here for 2 to 3 minutes. If you guys have any other questions, you can post them in the chat box and we'll take them up right now. In the meantime, I'm also going to share the link to our feedback form in the chat box. Those of you who do not have any questions can go and just take, it will not take more than 2 minutes to just fill that form up. Yes, so Raisa, this is, I think, a very interesting question from Pari. So she's asking, do students need to download any application if they are using Chrome to open the Google Classroom?
Okay, so if you're using Chrome, you can simply go over to classroom.google.com. I'll show that here. So only this much, and it will take you to the homepage of Google Classroom. And like we had seen, it's going to basically take you to a page looking like this. It may be blank for them, and they will have to click this plus icon, join class, and simply enter the class code. So they don't need to install the application, but it is always recommended to install the application just so that for the ease of use, basically.
Okay. Thank you, Raisa. And also, Anupa ma'am is asking, do the students need an ID each? Do they need like an email ID kind of thing?
Yes, the students will need an ID. But let me get back on that question in case there is an alternate solution. Uh, can we please make a note of this question?
Yeah,
We'll get back to
sure.
Anupama ma'am on this one.
Sure.
Thank you so much for these interesting questions. These really help us, find and discover new things that we may have not ventured into.
Yes. Someone has also asked that, is it mandatory to have a Google email address?
For logging into any of the Google applications, that is Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Forms, Google Slides, or Google Classroom or Gmail, you need a gmail.com ID. Yes.
All right. So you guys can continue sharing your questions in the chat box. In the meantime, we would also like to hear from you guys on kind of like how was this session? If there's any feedback, how are you going to use whatever you have learned? So if any of you can just maybe unmute yourself and put your video on and share a few lines on what you learned from this session and how are you planning to use it with your students. That would be really helpful for us. And you can keep asking your questions in the chat box. We'll definitely take them up. Just a few lines will really go a long way. in encouraging us to take up more such sessions. So even if you guys have any kind of feedback for us, we'll love to hear that. Yeah, Anupa, please go ahead.
Hi, just since you insist, I have unmuted and started my video, but thank you so much. That was very, very clearly explained. And even for somebody who has never used a laptop before, it was very well done. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Anupama. So in the meantime, I'll also ask one question from Raisa. So Raisa, Nishat ma'am is asking that when we enter Google Classroom through Chrome, so do we need to set up just like you showed us, or is there any other way to do that also to get started?
Okay, I'll just share my screen once again and repeat that process.
Sure.
Okay, for now I'll close all my open tabs and I'm simply going to go over to classroom.google.com and it will take me, if I have not signed in from any Google account, then it will ask me to sign in. If I have a Google account signed in already, like my Gmail account is signed in, so it's taking me directly to my account and the classes that are accessible to me. One thing that I can do is probably log out from my Gmail and show how that looks. Maybe that will be helpful. So if I refresh this page, it's going to ask me for a login. I'm just temporarily going to stop my share. So it's basically asked me for my login. I'm using my Google account. So that question that do you need a Gmail account? Yes, you do. So it's going to ask me to log in. I'm going to log in from my Gmail account. And I'll start my share again. So basically it asked me to log in. I have logged in and this is the home page that I'm going to come to. So say that you are a teacher, but your principal has created a Google Classroom to share regular updates with all teachers. Your principal will share a class code with you. You'll simply join a class with the class code. So that class will also appear over here, just that you will not have teacher rights in that class. You will have the rights that the students' rights, basically.
Okay. Raisa, so Pari has also asked that would it be possible for you to show the students' side of Google Classroom? Or maybe if not right now, can you maybe later record a video for that so that they can have a look
Sure.
of what students.
So we'll do that. Like this was from scratch since I was showing how to set up an account in scratch. I do not have students on this page. What we can do is record tutorials, very short ones, so you can simply go over to that and see how that works.
Okay. Secondly, also, Raisa, is there an option for some rules?
Correct. There is an option for adding rubrics. Once again, I will get back to you on this one. We will make a use case tutorial on this. Basically, it is if you have grading rubrics for each assignment that you're posting. I'll simply open one assignment and share my screen to show that. But again, an in-depth one, we will try and record a video so that will show you how to create one. Edit. This is the option that Pari ma'am is asking. So if we have to create a rubric, we have to basically talk about how we can score our students on the assignment. On this assignment, what is the criteria and what is the point that we're going to use to score. So for which we will try to create a video for you.
Great. Raisa, someone has also asked that what about the class code? Does it have to be taken from the principal, or where can teachers access that?
No. So that's a great question, and it can get confusing at times. So I'm going to share my screen again. Back to my classroom. So every time I create a class as a teacher, so now you can see I've created two classes. Each class has its unique code. So as a teacher, once I've created my class, I have the code over there. I simply share this code with my students. And each class, like I said, has a unique code. This has a different code. The point that I was making about a principal sharing is a principal can also use Google Classroom to keep sharing updates with their teachers. So they can create a similar class and they will share a code with you for their classroom. So it's not nothing to do with a Google Classroom, as in your teacher, right?